another big problem is our utang, public debt. During the Pinoy administration, it was between 5 to 6. It ballooned to more than 13 trillion pesos during the Duterte administration, and now it's more than 16 trillion pesos during the first 3 years of the Marcos Jr. administration. How are we likely to resolve this? Because we're now close to 115, 120 million Filipinos, and each kababayan, each person owes more than 110,000 pesos to our debtors.
Well, eventually the challenge is that most of the potential gains in revenue came from, were already picked up by the Duterte administration. So they did the CREATE, they did the other adjustments to train law. So naubos na yung potential revenue stream. Now, what we have right now are the very few that could bring in some revenue, but it will directly hit the masses. So a good example of that is the sugar tax. The second is the single use of plastic.
But how can we change the mindset of Filipinos who always say, ay, binabayad namin ang buwis namin. Pero yung buwis namin is not going to the right services. Pumupunta lang sa bulsa ng ibang tao. Hindi siya pumupunta sa serbisyo publiko. How do we change that mindset of our kababayans who think that way, that the money that they pay the government will just go to corruption?
Well, I think, if you're the government, then I guess listen more to what people are saying. And before, when I had a show with the ANC, one of my guests, or one of the topics we talked about is the SONA. And, it's good that the president is aware that inflation is a problem. But then, the next step is, so now you know that it's a problem, so what do you do? One of my guests said, rather than just doing a lot of things without really thinking about is it effective or not, you think of the situation and have some concrete measures. And then from there, create a plan and do the plan. And if your plan succeeds in, say, bringing down inflation, increasing the production of food, then it's working.
We need to eventually bring back values. Whether it's to ourselves or to the government, it starts from there. Diba? There should be love of country, and that's not what we see in most of our kababayans, diba? So every time I see, recently my wife had a birthday, nandun yung friend niya na husband was an OFW, which in one of our campings when their kids were small, I made mention how important an OFW is. It brings consumption to our economy, diba? So those are things that we have to value each and everyone's contribution.